My friend, listen to me. God says, this is the end of your tough time. Not tomorrow, not next year, not after another storm. Now, the heavens have already written a decree, and the decree says, enough. Enough of the tears that fall in secret. Enough of the pain that has worn your spirit thin. Enough of the waiting that felt endless. Enough of the nights when you questioned whether God had forgotten you. God says, this is the end. You have reached the turning point of your destiny, and from this moment forward, everything begins to shift in your favor. You see, when God speaks, time itself listens. When God declares an end to your struggle, creation rearranges itself to honor His word. Every closed door begins to tremble. Every mountain begins to move. And every force that stood against you begins to bow. God is not silent today. He is saying, your season of sorrow is over. Your time of trial has served its purpose. Now I will lift you, I will establish you, I will prove that I was with you all along. There were moments when you thought your prayers were lost in the wind. There were moments when you felt unseen, unheard, unnoticed. But God was never far. He was observing the test of your faith, watching how you endure the breaking, the delays, the disappointments, and the rejections. He saw how you did not quit even when your heart was bleeding. He saw how you kept believing even when nothing made sense. That faith has spoken for you. That perseverance has reached heaven, and now heaven responds with the power. God is announcing an end to the drought, an end to the silence, an end to the inner war you've been fighting. Do not look at your circumstance anymore. They are about to lie to you. They will look the same for a moment, but everything invisible is already changing. The roots of your suffering are being cut off. The forces that held you in delay are losing strength. You may not feel it yet, but the shift has begun. This is how God works quietly, suddenly, and completely. The same way morning replaced the night without noise, God is replacing your sorrow with peace, your fear with faith, your loss with restoration. For some of you, the struggle was not financial, it was emotional. You were tired of pretending to be strong, tired of fighting unseen battles. You were carrying weights that no one else could see. And yet, through it all, you did not curse God. You whispered through your tears, I will still trust you. And that whisper reached Him. That whisper became a seed. And today, God is watering that seed with favor. He is saying, I saw how you endured. I saw how you loved when you were unloved. I saw how you gave when you had nothing left. Now I will reward you openly. My friend, the season of breaking was never punishment. It was preparation. God was building endurance in you, patience in you, strength in you. You were being stretched, not destroyed. You were being pruned, not rejected. You were being hidden, not forgotten. Everything that seemed like a delay was actually divine timing. God does not rush His masterpiece. He allows pressure to produce purity, pain to produce purpose, and silence to produce strength. And now, after all that has been forged in the fire, He says, enough. When God says enough, all of creation echoes it. You will start to notice divine coincidences, doors opening that once were sealed shut, people coming into your life who carry keys, situations that suddenly turn around. You will sense peace returning to your mind. You will feel a new strength rising within your heart. you will wake up one morning and realize something has changed. That is the mark of divine intervention. That is how God moves. But hear me clearly. God does not end the tough time without a reason. Every trial He ends carries a testimony. Every storm He calms carries a revelation. You were never meant to go through the fire and come out empty. You were meant to come out refined, wiser, and filled with the divine authority. God allowed the pain so that when He lifts you, you will not boast in yourself, but in His power. The tough time was the soil where humility and the faith were born. Now that they have taken root, God can trust you with the blessings that will not destroy you. For some of you, this tough time came because you prayed dangerous prayers. You asked God to take you higher, to make you stronger, to use you for His glory. And God answered that prayer not with ease, but with endurance. He removed the things you thought you needed so He could show you what you truly need Him. He allowed loneliness so you could find companionship in His presence. He allowed the loss so you could see that nothing earthly defines your worth. He allowed the struggle so your faith could mature beyond emotion. And now, because you endured, He will honor you. There is a rhythm to God's plan. Before every elevation, there is isolation. Before every breakthrough, there is breaking. Before every public victory, there is a private battle. That battle was your classroom. That silence was your teacher. You learned the lessons that no sermon could teach. You learned to rely not on people, not on logic, not on your own strength, but on God. That dependence is your power. That surrender is your weapon. And now, God will use what tried to destroy you as the platform for your destiny. When God says, this is the end of your tough time, He is not just speaking about comfort. He is speaking about transformation. You are about to step into a version of yourself that could only be born through fire. You will no longer carry the same fears, doubts, or insecurities. You will walk with quiet confidence because you have seen what survival looks like. You will not beg for approval anymore because you know who sustains you. You will not chase what left you because you know God replaces better than He removes. You may ask, but how can I believe this when my situation hasn't changed yet? Faith is believing the voice of God above the noise of circumstances. Faith is standing in the middle of the storm and saying, the rain may still be falling, but the season has shifted. Faith does not wait for proof. It creates proof. And when God sees faith, He responds with miracles. The moment you decide to believe that your tough time has ended, the spiritual atmosphere around you changes. The angels of God move on assignment. The power of delay breaks. Some of you are entering a season where things will happen quickly. What took years will suddenly take days. What seemed impossible will suddenly become effortless. Not because you worked harder, but because the wind of God is blowing in your direction. The favor that was hidden is about to find you. The opportunities that were blocked are about to open. You will be surprised at how fast everything shifts once God says, now. But do not forget, when the tough time ends, you must not return to the mindset that created it. Do not go back to doubt. Do not go back to fear. Do not go back to depending on people for what only God can provide. God ended the season so that you could rise above it, not revisit it. Learn the lesson, carry the wisdom, but leave the pain behind, because where God is taking you, all the pain cannot travel. You are not who you were in the beginning of this trial. You have been refined, awakened, and matured. You no longer think like a victim. You think like a victor. You no longer live in reaction. You live in revelation. You no longer seek comfort from others. You carry comfort within. This is what happens when God finishes a tough season. He does not just change your situation. He changes you. There were people who misunderstood you in your season of struggle. They thought your silence was weakness. They thought your delay was defeat. They thought your loss was final. But God allowed it so that when He restores you, no one will be able to take credit. They will have to say, only God could have done this. And He will do it in such a way that even your enemies will have to acknowledge His hand on your life. The same place where you were mocked will become the place where you are celebrated. The same hand that rejected you will wish they had supported you. The same doors that closed on you will open wider than before. God is not only ending your tough time, He is redeeming it. Every tear will become a testimony. Every failure will become wisdom. Every wound will become a weapon. What once broke you will now build you. The most powerful moment in any believer's life is when they realize that God is not late. He is strategic. Every delay, every disappointment, every detour was part of the design. God was protecting you from premature success, from shallow victories, from people who could not handle your future. He was teaching you to wait, to trust, to discern. And now when He says, this is the end, you can stand strong knowing the waiting was worth it. There is something sacred about endurance. When you endure, you inherit authority. You are no longer shaken by small storms because you have seen bigger ones. You are no longer afraid of loss because you have survived emptiness. You are no longer dependent on external validation because you have heard the inner voice of God. That is why your next season will be peaceful, not because life will be perfect, but because you will walk with the perfect trust. Now, as you hear these words, something inside you is awakening. That is the spirit of faith rising again. The heaviness that sat on your chest for months is lifting. The anxiety that kept you awake at night is breaking. You are being strengthened from the inside out. This is not motivation, it is activation. God is activating your destiny, your joy, your courage. He is breathing new life into the dry places of your soul. You will begin to notice signs of confirmation. People you have not heard from will reach out with opportunities. Unexpected doors will open. Situations that were stagnant will suddenly move. Do not call it luck, call it divine timing. This is the reward for your endurance. This is the fruit of your faithfulness. God has remembered you, and when God remembers, everything changes. Every tough time has an expiration date, and yours has arrived. The same way winter cannot stop the coming of spring, darkness cannot stop the dawn that God has commanded. The tough time has done its work. It has shaped your character and purified your motives. You are now ready for divine abundance. You are ready to see the goodness of God in ways you've never seen before. You are ready to walk in peace that cannot be shaken, favor that cannot be denied, and joy that cannot be stolen. This is not the end of your story. It is the end of your struggle. It is not the end of your purpose. It is the end of your pain. From this moment on, every day will reveal why you had to go through what you went through. Every day will uncover a layer of meaning, a trace of divine wisdom hidden in your journey. You look back and realize that nothing was wasted. Every heartbreak, every delay, every disappointment was a brushstroke in the painting of your destiny. When God decides that your season of suffering has reached its limit, no force in the universe can extend it a second longer. What once chained your progress begins to release you. What once broke your heart begins to heal you. What once made you cry begins to make you wiser. Because when God declares a shift, creation itself bent to obey. The pain that seemed endless suddenly turns into clarity. The confusion that clouded your mind begins to lift. The same valley that once buried your hope becomes the ground where new strength is born. You begin to see that every tear you shed was watering the soil of your next victory. Listen to me, this is not a small shift. This is a divine conclusion. God is not patching up your old life. He is building something entirely new. You will not go back to where you were before the pain. You will not fit into old environment that could no longer contain your purpose. The discomfort you've been feeling is not a sign of failure. It's the birth pain of transformation. God has been stretching you, not breaking you. He has been removing what could not grow with you. Every ending that hurt you was making space for something greater. And now, He says, the tough time has done its job. The season of pruning is complete. Step into the new that I have prepared. Many people misinterpret silence as absence, but God's silence is never abandonment. It is the sacred classroom of faith. When He hides His hand, it is not because He has left you. It is because He is testing what He placed inside you. You prayed for strength, and He gave you challenges. You prayed for faith, and He gave you delays. You prayed for discernment, and He allowed the deception to test your spirit. Each of these moments was not meant to harm you, but to mature you. And now that the lesson has been learned, He says, peace, be still. The storm is over. The silence has served its purpose. Do not underestimate what you endured. You survived what should have broken you. You held on when everything told you to give up. You kept walking when the past disappeared beneath your feet. That is not weakness. That is evidence of divine favor. God does not allow the battle to continue beyond what your spirit can carry. You thought you were being crushed, but you were being crowned. You thought you were losing, but you were being prepared. The waiting was not punishment. It was protection. God was making sure that when He lifts you, you will not fall again. Now, as this tough time ends, you must prepare your heart for increase. When God ends a storm, He does not just restore, He multiplies. He does not just return what was lost. He redeemed the years that were stolen. He does not just bring you out, He brings you higher. But to receive that, your heart must be ready. You cannot enter a new season with an old mindset. You cannot step into abundance with the mentality of lack. You cannot receive divine peace if you still cling to all the fears. The tough time was not meant to just change your circumstances. It was meant to renew your mind. For too long, you have looked at what you lost. But now, God says, look at what you are becoming. The losses were necessary to reveal your true value. The rejection was divine redirection. The closed doors were signs that your destiny was not inside them. The betrayals were purification, not punishment. Every person who left was meant to leave so that your next chapter could begin without distraction. God saw what you could not see. He saw the weight of certain connection, the hidden traps of comfort, the poison of approval. So He allowed the separation to create elevation. And now you will rise differently. You will speak with wisdom that only pain can teach. You will walk with a calmness that only storms can produce. You will love with a discernment that only heartbreak can reveal. You will not chase validation. You will attract the respect. You will not fight for attention. You will walk in divine confidence. Because when you know that God has ended your tough time, you stop begging for peace. You carry it wherever you go. There are moments when the transition feels strange. You begin to sense that the old version of yourself no longer fits. The things that once entertained you now seem meaningless. The people you once relied on no longer understand your language. That's because God is elevating your frequency. You are being tuned to higher vibration of purpose. The conversations you used to enjoy now drain you because your spirit is evolving. You are not better than anyone else. You are simply being called to greater alignment with God's design for your life. When God declares the end of your tough time, He's not only changing your environment, He's upgrading your perception. You will begin to notice the blessings that were always there but hidden behind the fog of pain. You will start to feel grateful for what once hurt you because now you see its divine purpose. You will look at the same people, the same places, the same life, and suddenly everything looks different because you are different. God's grace changes not only what you have, but how you see what you have. Do not be surprised if your peace disturbs others. There are people who thrived on your struggle, who found comfort in your brokenness. They will not understand your calm, your silence, your strength. But do not explain yourself. Let your transformation speak for itself. Let your peace be your proof that God has done what no one else could do. You owe no one an explanation for your healing. You owe no one an apology for your restoration. When God ends the tough season, He gives you authority over it. And that authority does not require approval. My friend, this is the season where God will show you why you had to cry, why you had to wait, why you had to be alone. He is connecting the dots in ways your human mind could never comprehend. What once felt random will now reveal its rhythm. What once felt meaningless will now expose its message. You will see how perfectly everything was orchestrated for your growth. Every disappointment had direction. Every failure had formation. Every delay had divine intention. You will say, now I understand. God's wisdom is often wrapped in pain because pain removes distractions. When everything is comfortable, you stop listening. But when everything breaks, you fall to your knees. And that is when God whispers truth into your soul. He does not shout over your comfort. He speaks through your discomfort. That's why your breaking point was not the end. It was the moment you became teachable. The moment you said, God, I can't do this alone, He began rewriting your story. And now you stand at the border between your past and your promise. You can feel it, a subtle peace, a quiet assurance. You no longer feel desperate, but ready. That's how you know the tough time is truly over. When God ends a season, He replaces striving with stillness. You stop chasing and start attracting. You stop worrying and start witnessing. The very energy around you changes because the favor of God has settled upon you. There is one thing you must do now. Guard your peace. Protect what God has restored. Do not let old voices pull you back into old battles. Do not let fear disguise itself as caution. You survived too much to start doubting again. Speak what you want to see. Declare what God has already spoken. Walk as if you already have what you prayed for. Because in the unseen realm, it is already done. And let me tell you this truth. When God brings you out of a tough time, He often does it in a way that surprises everyone, even you. It will not come through the same path you expected. It may come through a conversation, a random opportunity, a shift in your heart. God specializes in the unexpected. He hides blessings in ordinary moments. That's why you must remain sensitive. What looks small may carry your next breakthrough. What looks insignificant may be the door to your destiny. The toughest times in life are never wasted because they make your faith unshakable. You look back and say, if I survive that, I can survive anything. That unbreakable confidence is not arrogance, it is divine awareness. You will no longer fear loss because you know the one who restores. You will no longer fear failure because you understand that failure is just another chapter in the story of faith. You will no longer fear people because you know that no one can stop what God has ordained. The shift is happening now. You are not waiting for a miracle. You are standing in one. The change you prayed for is already in motion. Heaven has already responded to your endurance. You may not see it yet, but you will feel it in your spirit. A calm, a deep sense that the struggle is over. That is not imagination. That is confirmation. God does not tease His children with false hope. If peace has entered your heart, it is because breakthrough has entered your path. When God says your tough time has ended, it is not just a change in your circumstance, it is a shift in the atmosphere around your destiny. The spiritual tension that surrounded your life begins to loosen. The unseen weight that pressed upon your spirit begins to lift. You begin to sense that something has broken in the unseen realm. It is as if a door that was sealed shut for years has been unlocked by the hand of God Himself. The same wind that once carried storms now carries blessings. The same path that once felt heavy now feels light beneath your feet. This is the mystery of divine timing. When God speaks, even the invisible obeys. There were seasons when you were asking God, when will this end? And heaven remained silent. You thought perhaps you were forgotten, but you were being refined in silence. You were being forged in divine fire. You were being shaped into a vessel that could handle the greatness that was coming. If God had given you what you prayed for when you first asked, it might have destroyed you. But now, after the breaking, the molding, and the waiting, you are ready. You are prepared to carry what He is about to release. God never delays to deny, He delays to develop. And now that development has reached its completion. There is a sacred pattern in every breakthrough. Before the light comes, the longest night. Right before the end of a tough time, the battle always intensifies. The moment you are closest to deliverance is the moment opposition grows strongest. That is how you know your breakthrough is near. The enemy does not fight what is failing, he fights what is rising. And you, my friend, are rising. The intensity you have been feeling was not punishment. It was the signal of your promotion. The final test always comes before divine elevation. But today, God declares that you have passed the test. Now, listen carefully. When God ends a tough time, He does not just bring you relief, He brings revelation. You begin to understand why things had to unfold the way they did. You begin to see that nothing was wasted. Every rejection was protection. Every detour was a redirection. Every closed door was a safeguard from premature success. God was not ignoring you. He was organizing your future. He was positioning you where your destiny could find you. The tough time was never meant to destroy you. It was meant to position you for what eyes have not seen and ears have not heard. You see, God never ends one chapter without preparing the next. The pain you endured has become the foundation for wisdom. The tears you cried have become the language of empathy. The silence you walked through has become the birthplace of discernment. You are no longer the same person who entered this struggle. You have been reshaped from the inside out. You carry a new sound, a new presence, a new authority. You have been to the fire and come out refined. You have seen the valley and now you are ready for the mountain. But hear this truth. When God ends your tough time, He does not want you to simply survive. He wants you to thrive. Many people leave a storm but continue to live as if they are still in it. They hold on to the memory of pain so tightly that they cannot embrace the promise of peace. Do not let that be you. The time of crying is over. The time of doubting is over. The time of merely enduring is over. God is calling you into fullness, into laughter, into boldness. The night has ended. It is time to rise with the morning light. This is the moment to shift your posture. You are no longer the one waiting, you are the one walking into fulfillment. You are no longer the one asking when, you are the one witnessing how. Speak differently, think differently, pray differently. Let your words carry the authority of someone who knows their season has changed. Let your heart release the fear that once held it captive. Let your spirit awaken with expectancy. Because when God declares an end, there is no negotiation. The storm must obey. The burden must lift. The struggle must bow. And I tell you this with conviction. The reason your tough time lasted as long as it did is because God was building capacity within you. Every delay stretched your faith. Every hardship expanded your endurance. Every disappointment deepened your trust. You are being prepared to handle the abundance that would follow. God will never pour a great blessing into a small vessel. He enlarges the vessel first through process, through pressure, through perseverance. And once it is strong enough, He releases the overflow. That is where you stand now, at the edge of overflow. You may have noticed how certain things no longer affect you the way they used to. The same words that once wounded you now roll off your back. The same problems that once stole your sleep no longer shake your peace. That is evidence that your season has changed. God has elevated your inner strength. You are no longer reactive. You are reflective. You are no longer begging for understanding. You are walking in clarity. The struggle that once defined you no longer controls you. This is what it means to be transformed by endurance. Your soul has matured beyond the chaos. And now God will reward you openly for what you endured privately. The prayers that no one knew about, the tears that no one saw, the sacrifices that went unnoticed, all of it has reached His throne. You did not endure in vain. Every hidden act of faith has built a case for divine reward. God is not unjust. He does not forget faithfulness. He counts every tear, every prayer, every moment you chose to trust Him when nothing made sense. And now that season of quiet endurance is giving birth to visible blessing. But remember this, the blessing is not just for comfort, it is for purpose. God did not bring you through the storm just so you could say, I made it. He brought you through so you could guide others through their own. Your testimony will become their survival manual. Your wisdom will become their hope. You will speak to the broken and they will believe you because your words will carry the fragrance of truth. You have walked through the fire. so your voice now carries fire. You have cried in secret, so your compassion now carries weight. God uses the healed to heal. Do not despise what you went through, because it produced something eternal in you. It carved out humility, gratitude, and spiritual awareness. You have learned to see God not only in blessings but in battles. You have discovered that His power is not just in miracles but in endurance. And that revelation can never be taken from you. That is why your next season will not be built on fear but on faith. You have seen the worst and survived it. Now you will see the best and sustain it. There will be a moment when you still feel the residue of your tough time. You may wake up one morning and feel that old fear whisper again. But do not let it deceive you. It is only a shadow, not substance. The tough time is over. God has already sealed it with His decree. The only power the past holds is the power you give it through memory. So release it. Forgive yourself, forgive others. Let go of the narrative that once defined you. God has written a new one, and it begins with a peace. This is also the season where God will vindicate you. Those who doubted your strength will witness your stability. Those who questioned your faith will see your fruit. Those who mocked your delay will watch your divine acceleration. God is not cruel. He restores with precision. He repays with interest. Every tear you sowed in sorrow will return multiplied in joy. Every night of worry will return as days of laughter. Every betrayal will return as protection revealed. Nothing you endured was wasted. It was all investment in your future. Now, as you walk forward, walk with a new rhythm, slow, steady, confident. Do not rush. God is not late, and neither are you. Everything that belongs to you is already aligned on your path. The right opportunities will recognize your energy. The right people will discern your value. The right moments will appear at the appointed time. You do not have to chase what God has ordained. The same divine power that ended your tough time will guide your footstep into abundance. Look around with the spiritual eyes. Can you feel it? The air around your life has changed. What once felt heavy now feels holy. What once felt cursed now feels charged with the promise. This is not coincidence. It is divine confirmation. God has turned the page. You are no longer under the chapter of endurance. You are under the chapter of emergence. The long night is over. The new dawn has begun. And now, with the confidence of faith, declare it within yourself. My tough time has ended. Speak it not as a hope, but as a fact. Speak it as someone who knows that the word of God is final. The moment you align your speech with His promise, everything begins to synchronize with that truth. Heaven responds to faith-filled words. Speak light, and light will manifest. Speak peace, and peace will multiply. Speak abundance, and doors will open. You have carried sorrow for too long. Now it is time to carry joy. You have carried the questions for too long. Now it is time to carry answers. You have carried the fear for too long. Now it is time to carry faith. The God who sustained you through darkness is now crowning you with the light. This is your moment of divine reversal. The tide has turned. The tough time has expired. God has spoken, and His word stands forever. And now, my friend, hear this final truth. With the full weight of your spirit, your tough time is over. God has spoken, and when God speaks, no power on earth or in the unseen can oppose it. What was once heavy is now light. What was once blocked is now open. What was once delayed is now accelerated. You are stepping into a season of abundance, peace, favor, and divine alignment. Every tear, every struggle, every moment of doubt has been transformed into strength, wisdom, and testimony. Rise with confidence, for God's hand is upon you. Walk boldly into the new chapter He has written for you, knowing that every step you take is guided, protected, and prospered by Him. Do not look back. Do not cling to the old seasons. Carry the lessons, but leave the pain behind. Speak life over yourself. Declare victory in every area of your existence. Your past no longer defines you. Your destiny now moves forward under the authority of God's perfect timing. This is your moment. This is your shift. God has ended your tough time. And from this day forward, everything aligns with His promise. Step into it with faith. Walk into it with courage. And live it with unwavering confidence. The battle is over. The test is complete. The victory is yours. Your season of breakthrough, blessing, and divine fulfillment begins now. When God is about to release wealth into your life, He will not begin with the comfort. He will begin with the testing. Many people cry out for abundance, yet they are unaware that God does not entrust wealth to the unproven. God will not pour gold into a vessel that leaks, nor will He hand over divine resources to a heart that is still ruled by pride, fear, or greed. Before He blesses you with abundance, He must first test your spirit to see if you can carry it without destroying yourself. You see, the test always comes before the treasure. The pressure always comes before the promotion. The silence always comes before the sound of multiplication. There is a moment in every believer's life when God begins to strip away the illusion of control. He removes the false securities. He closes doors that you once thought were your lifeline. He allows certain people to walk away. He takes you into a season where your skills, your wisdom, and your strength are not enough. And you begin to ask God, why? But the real question is not why. It is, what is God preparing me for? Because every test is proof that something greater is on the horizon. God is not trying to destroy you. He is preparing you for divine trust. Wealth in God's kingdom is not simply about money. It is about stewardship. God must first see that you can handle the invisible before He entrusts you with the visible. When God tests you before wealth, He observes your reaction to lack. Do you complain or do you praise Him anyway? Do you panic or do you rest in His faithfulness? God listens not to your words but to your attitude. Many say, if I had more, I would be more generous. But God says, if you are not generous now, you will not be generous later. Because generosity is not born in abundance, it is born in gratitude. When God tests you, He hides abundance behind adversity. He hides opportunity inside opposition. He hides increase behind inconvenience. Why? Because He wants to see if you can still believe when everything in front of you tells you not to. There is a wilderness before every promised land. And in that wilderness, God examines your heart. He watches what you do when nobody is watching. He observes your integrity when temptation whispers shortcuts. He looks at your discipline when no one is clapping. You see, wealth is heavy. It requires character to carry. If God were to bless you prematurely, the blessing could break you. So He purifies you. He refines you in the fire of hidden seasons. He delays the harvest not because He has forgotten you, but because He is strengthening your roots. The longer the preparation, the stronger the foundation. When you are being tested, it feels as if everything you touch falls apart. You pray, but the heavens seem silent. You work, but results seem delayed. You give, but the return seems hidden. Yet that is when God is closest to you. The silence of God is not His absence, it is His inspection. He is watching to see if you will remain faithful without the applause, if you will still sow when nothing seems to grow, if you will still thank Him when nothing seems to move. God used these moments to separate the seekers from the pretenders, the faithful from the fickle, the committed from the convenient. He must be certain that your loyalty is to Him, not to what He gives. Wealth is a sacred assignment. It is not given for self-exaltation, but for divine purpose. That is why the test is so personal, so intense, and sometimes so painful. God will expose every idol that hides within your heart. He will confront every dependence that is not Him. He will take you to a place where only your faith can feed you. You will stand at the edge of uncertainty, and it will seem like everything is collapsing, but in truth, everything false is collapsing so that everything real can rise. Some people cry when doors close, not realizing that the door was never meant to lead to destiny. God will close doors that lead to comfort, so He can open gates that lead to purpose. He will allow loss that feels unfair, because hidden in that loss is the seed of future increase. You may feel stripped, but you are being positioned. You may feel delayed, but you are being refined. Every time you choose to trust God instead of your fear, you pass a divine test. Every time you choose to honor God with a little, you prove that you can be trusted with much. The test of wealth is never about money, it is about mastery. Can you master your desires? Or will your desires master you? Can you stay humble when resources increase? Can you still depend on God when your accounts are full? Many pray for wealth, but forget that wealth magnifies whatever is inside you. If pride lives in your heart, money will multiply it. If greed hides within you, money will expose it. But if humility and gratitude dwell in you, wealth will become a weapon for divine good. That is why God delays some blessing until you are spiritually mature enough to use them correctly. There will be seasons when God takes you through financial dryness, not to punish you, but to teach you divine order. He teaches you to prioritize purpose over pleasure, mission over material, and obedience over opportunity. God will allow you to experience moments where everything that once worked stops working, just to show you that your true source is not a paycheck, not a business, not a connection, it is Him. When you understand that, you graduate from survival to stewardship, and stewardship is the gate to divine wealth. When God begins to test you, He will allow circumstances that seem unfair. People may misunderstand you. Your efforts may go unnoticed, but God is watching how you handle obscurity. If you can stay faithful in hidden places, He can trust you in high places. The reason some never see divine abundance is that they fail the test of anonymity. They crave recognition before they build a revelation. But God does not promote noise. He promotes faithfulness. When you learn to walk with God without needing validation, He will reveal you to the world without explanation. There is a sacred pattern in the way God promotes. First the test, then the trust, then the treasure. The test proves your dependence. The trust deepens your character. And the treasure manifests your obedience. You cannot skip any stage. If you try to grasp the blessing without passing the test, what you gain will slip away. But if you allow the process to shape you, what God gives will stay. Remember this, God's preparation always feels like isolation before elevation. In those testing moments, your prayers will shift. You will stop asking God, why me? And start asking, what are you teaching me? Because the test is never to expose your weakness, it is to reveal your readiness. When God tests you with the small assignments, He is measuring your ability to carry large responsibilities. He watches how you treat what seems insignificant. Do you serve with excellence even when it doesn't benefit you? Do you give with joy even when nobody sees it? Every unseen act of obedience is a deposit in your spiritual account. When the appointed time comes, God releases what has been stored up in your favor. You must also understand this. When God is testing you before wealth, He will allow you to witness others being blessed. This is not to provoke jealousy, but to purify it. Can you celebrate another's success without questioning your own timeline? Can you bless those who rise before you without resentment? This test reveals whether your heart can handle prosperity without comparison. God does not bless bitterness, He blesses faith. The moment you can genuinely rejoice in another's blessing, you signal to heaven that you are ready for your own. Many people abort their divine wealth because they interpret testing as rejection. They say, God must not care for me. But they fail to see that the silence is actually His training ground. God does not build champions in comfort. He builds them in pressure. Every giant of faith has walked through the desert of delay. They learn to trust God's plan even when their emotions could not understand it. And that is the ultimate test. Will you obey God even when His process makes no sense? You see, the longer God tests you, the greater the assignment that waits ahead. You are not being punished, you are being prepared. Every tear you shed in obedience is watering the ground for your future harvest. Every disappointment is a divine redirection. Every delay is a secret investment in your spiritual maturity. God's timing is not slow, it is strategic. When He finally releases wealth into your hands, you will not only have abundance, you will have a wisdom. You will not only have a resources, you will have a revelation. And that is why the process is sacred, because it transforms what you have into who you are. When you reach the moment of divine release, you will look back and realize that what you thought was pain was protection. God was protecting you from premature exposure, from wrong alliances, from misplaced confidence. He was shielding you from the kind of success that destroys rather than builds. He was cleansing your motives, refining your focus, aligning your heart with His will. And when that alignment comes, you will no longer chase wealth. Wealth will begin to chase you because God trusts you now. So if you are in a season of testing, do not despise it. Thank God for it. For it means He is considering you for promotion. The depth of your struggle reveals the height of your destiny. The weight of your battle reveals the size of your blessing. Every challenge is a divine classroom. Every hardship is a lesson in trust. Every closed door is a reminder that your supply comes from above. Do not measure your worth by what you have lost. Measure it by how much you have learned to depend on God. The wealth that comes from God is not only external, it is internal. It is the peace that cannot be bought, the wisdom that cannot be stolen, the confidence that cannot be shaken. And that inner wealth is what sustains the outer one. God tests you to ensure that your soul is stronger than your bank account, that your heart is deeper than your pockets, that your values are higher than your ambitions. For what use is abundance if your spirit is poor? What value is gold if gratitude is gone? God's tests are not meant to break you, they are meant to reveal you, to separate who you pretend to be from who you are called to be. When the tests come, embrace them with faith. Stand firm with gratitude. Speak words of trust when others speak of doubt, because your response determines your release. God is watching, not to condemn, but to confirm that you are ready for what you have been praying for. And when the test is complete, when you have learned to trust God in lack, when you have praised Him in silence, when you have obeyed Him without explanation, then the doors of divine wealth will open not as a surprise, but as a confirmation. You will realize that it was never about chasing the blessing. It was about becoming the kind of person who could carry it. When God begins to test you before sending wealth, He doesn't test your comfort. He tests your conviction. He doesn't test your possessions. He tests your patience. He doesn't test what you can gain. He tests what you can endure. Because true wealth is not a sudden deposit of gold or status. It is slow refining of the soul. God does not reward impatience. He rewards faith that refuses to die in the dark. If you are crying in secret, waiting for a breakthrough, understand this. The delay is not denial, it is divine development. God is shaping something in you that money could never buy. He is building the discipline that will keep you standing when wealth begins to flow. There are moments when God hides opportunities behind failure. You may lose a job, a business may collapse, or the plans you worked for years may suddenly dissolve. But that is not loss, it is repositioning. God is never subtracting. He is redirecting. He will strip away what was never yours to reveal what has always been waiting for you. Many cry when the old chapter closes, not realizing that God had to end it so He could open a greater one. Sometimes you cannot see what He's doing until you are standing in the new place He was preparing for you all along. God's test before wealth often comes through people. He will allow betrayal to expose your maturity. He will allow misunderstanding to reveal your heart. When people mistreat you, God is not showing you their weakness. He is revealing your strength. Can you stay kind when others are cruel? Can you keep your peace when others provoke you? Can you continue to walk in integrity when no one is acknowledging it? This is where many fail. They want the wealth, but they are not ready for the weight of it. For the higher God lifts you, the more grace and humility you will need to sustain it. Every test is a divine question. Can you still trust God when you do not understand Him? Can you obey without evidence? Can you continue to sow when there is no harvest in sight? Wealth requires the faith to act on unseen instruction. When God tells you to give what you need, to build what you cannot afford, or to trust when logic says it's impossible, He is not mocking you, He is preparing you. He is teaching you that obedience brings overflow, that faith brings provision, and that surrender brings security. When God begins to elevate you, He will test you with exposure. People will start noticing your gifts, your influence, your ideas, but He will watch to see if you remain humble. Pride is the enemy of divine wealth because it shifts the focus from the source to the self. God will never promote arrogance. He promotes those who recognize that everything they have is borrowed from His grace. If you can stay small in your heart while God makes you great in the world, you have passed one of the highest tests of divine trust. There will also be tests of distraction. When doors start opening, not every door is divine. Some are detours disguised as opportunities. The enemy knows he cannot stop what God has ordained, so he distracts with counterfeit success. He offers something fast, something shiny, something that looks like progress but carries no purpose. This is why discernment is part of God's testing process. Can you tell the difference between what is good and what is God? Can you walk away from something profitable if it pulls you away from peace? Wealth that costs you your connection to God is not wealth, it is a trap. When God tests you, He is not trying to find out who you are. He already knows. The test is for you to discover who you have become. Testing exposes your inner strength, reveals your hidden weakness, and prepares you for greater responsibility. You cannot conquer what you have not confronted. God will bring you face to face with your own limitations so that you may learn to lean entirely on Him. In the end, the test is never about provision, it is about perspective. If you can see God's hand in the hardship, you have already won half the battle. Many think wealth is about receiving, but in God's kingdom, wealth begins with releasing. You must release control, release fear, release resentment, release your own timing. God cannot fill what is already full. When you empty yourself of anxiety and pride, you make room for divine abundance. The wealth that God brings is drawn to humility and obedience. You cannot beg your way into divine favor. You must grow your way into it. God increases those who have learned to depend completely on Him. There is a point in every test when the pressure intensifies. That moment is not to crush you, it is to crown you. The closer you are to your breakthrough, the harder the test becomes. When it feels unbearable, that is the signal that the season of release is near. God often hides your harvest in your hardest moment. The night grows darkest right before the dawn. So when everything in you feels tired, do not retreat. Keep moving, keep trusting, keep sowing in faith, because soon the test will turn into testimony. You must also understand that the test before wealth is not only external, it happens inside your mind. God will challenge your thinking before He changes your circumstances. You cannot carry a millionaire's blessing with a beggar's mindset. You must think in alignment with the divine abundance. God tests you by allowing lack to teach you creativity, not defeat. When you are short on resources, it is because He wants to expand your imagination. He wants you to see solutions where others see scarcity. That is how you become a vessel of divine innovation. True wealth flows through mind that can think beyond the fear and act beyond the comfort. Another form of God's test comes through timing. He will make you wait, not because He is late, but because He is building endurance. Waiting is not wasted time, it is divine preparation. Many lose their blessing because they cannot handle delay. They want quick results, but quick results produce shallow roots. God wants your blessing to last, not just appear. So He stretches time to stretch your trust. When you learn to wait without complaining, when you can praise without proof, you have passed one of the hardest tests of faith. Wealth requires patience because sudden success without structure can destroy a person. God will not give you what you cannot manage. So He teaches you to organize your life while you wait. He trains you in discipline, in stewardship, in focus. Every time you plan, save, and manage your current resources wisely, you are signaling to heaven that you are ready for increase. God blesses order. He blesses those who prepare in private before He promotes them in public. There is also the test of gratitude. God watches how you respond to small blessings. If you cannot be thankful for what you have now, you will not be content with what you receive later. Gratitude attracts increase because it acknowledges the source. Every time you thank God sincerely, you multiply the energy of abundance around you. But when you complain, you repel it. Gratitude turns ordinary days into miracles. It transforms scarcity into sufficiency. It proves that your heart is ready to carry more. When God tests you, He will also test your relationship. Wealth requires wisdom in choosing who walks with you. Not everyone around you is meant to go where God is taking you. Sometimes He removes people quietly and you feel betrayed, but in truth, He is protecting you. You cannot carry divine wealth while being surrounded by those who drain your faith. God will test whether you can walk alone. If it means staying aligned with Him, He will test whether you choose peace over popularity, purpose over approval. The ability to walk alone in obedience is one of the highest qualifications for divine wealth. You must also understand that the test of wealth is the test of humility. When abundance finally begins to flow, will you remember where it came from? Will you still pray with the same urgency? Will you still give with the same passion? God's test does not end. When the wealth arrives, it begins anew. Because true wealth is sustained not by strategy, but by surrender. The same dependence that brought the blessing is what keeps it. God's testing is never to deprive you, it is to define you. He is not withholding the blessing, He is molding the vessel. If you are being stretched, it is because God sees capacity in you that you have not yet discovered. He is drawing out your hidden strength through pressure. Every challenge you face is unlocking a new dimension of endurance and faith. You are being sculpted for significance. The fire you feel now will one day be the light that guides others. When wealth finally comes, you will recognize that it was never really about the money, it was about the mission. God blesses you so that you can become a blessing. He tests you so that you can teach others how to overcome. He increases you so that you can impact generations. Divine wealth is not accumulation, it is assignment. It carries responsibility, purpose, and divine expectation. And those who pass the test before wealth are not just rich, they are trusted. So when you feel pressed, when doors close, when people walk away, do not curse the moment, thank God for it. For He is proving your faith, sharpening your vision, purifying your motives. He is removing what is temporary to prepare you for what is eternal. The test may be hard, but it is holy. It may be painful, but it is purposeful. You may not see it now, but one day you will look back and realize that every trial was a stepping stone to your divine destiny. The greatest evidence that God is about to bless you is not comfort, it is contradiction. Everything seems opposite to what He promised. Yet deep in your spirit, there is peace. That peace is the confirmation that you are exactly where you should be. God is aligning the unseen forces in your favor. He is orchestrating events, preparing people, and designing opportunities that will unfold when the time is right. And when it happens, it will not be gradual, it will be sudden. Divine wealth comes like a flood when God has finished His testing. There comes a time when God begins to test your inner strength through silence. Silence is not absence. It is sacred examination. When God hides His voice, He is not ignoring you. He is observing you. He wants to see whether your faith depends on feelings or on conviction. It is easy to trust when the signs are clear and the doors open freely, but the real test of trust begins when there are no signs, no confirmation, no visible progress. In that silence, God is whispering through circumstance, through delay, through stillness. He's asking, will you hold on to my promise even when you hear nothing? For in silence, your spiritual ears grow sharper. In silence, your dependence on God deepens. Those who cannot stand the silence are not ready for the sound of abundance, because wealth without spiritual stability will collapse under its own weight. When God tests you, He may take away everything that made you feel secure. The people you depended on may walk away. The resources you counted on may vanish. Your plans may fall apart like sand in your hands. This is not punishment, it is purification. God removes every false support so that you may discover the solid ground of His presence. He wants you to know that your true foundation is not built on connections, credentials, or possession. It is built on faith. When you finally understand that everything else can be taken, but God remains, you have passed one of the most powerful tests of divine maturity. There will also be times when the test comes through waiting. Waiting is the furnace where faith is refined. Many people fail the test of waiting because they mistake delay for denial. But God delays only to develop. He will never give a gift before the receiver is ready. If you are asking God for something that has not yet come, do not think He has forgotten you. He is preparing you, and He is preparing what belongs to you. The moment your character and your calling align, the release will come swiftly, and you will realize that the waiting was necessary. God cannot release abundance into hands that are still learning obedience. There is another level of testing that few understand, the test of exposure. When you begin to experience small breakthroughs, small moments of success, small signs of progress, God watches to see how you handle it. Do you give glory to yourself, or do you give glory to Him? Do you become careless with the principles that once kept you disciplined? Many fall when they experience early success because they begin to think they are the source of their own prosperity. God will sometimes allow you to touch the edge of success and then pull it back just to reveal your heart. If you can remain humble even when the spotlight shines, God will trust you with true greatness. You see, the journey to divine wealth is not a straight path. It is a sacred circle of testing, trusting, and transforming. Each test purifies you. Each waiting season strengthens you. Each loss redirects you. God is not interested in temporary abundance. He is shaping eternal responsibility. That is why His tests are not meant to make you famous, but to make you faithful. He knows that one faithful soul can do more with little than 100 careless ones can do with plenty. So He teaches you to value discipline over display, patience over pressure, and wisdom over waste. God also tests you through your reactions to correction. When He shows you your flaws, do you defend them or do you change? Many cry out for increase but refuse instruction. They want abundance without accountability. Yet God blesses those who listen. He will send wisdom disguised as discomfort. He will place mentors challenges, and even failures in your path to shape your understanding. If you can humble yourself and learn from every experience, no matter how painful, you are proving that you are teachable, and teachable hearts attract transformation. Another powerful test is the test of secrecy. Can you serve God faithfully when no one is applauding you? Can you give generously without expecting recognition? Can you pray in hidden rooms when there is no audience to admire your devotion? God often measures greatness by what happens in private. What you do unseen determines what God does for you publicly. If your motives remain pure when no one is watching, if your integrity remains intact when there is no reward in sight, then you are walking in the divine pattern that precedes promotion. Sometimes God will test your relationship with wealth by letting you taste both lack and abundance. There will be days when you have more than enough and days when you have almost nothing. This contrast is divine training. In lack, He teaches you gratitude. In abundance, He teaches you stewardship. The wise understand that both seasons are necessary. The one who learns to manage scarcity will handle plenty with humility. The one who learns to share in abundance will never fear loss again. God tests your heart through your habits. How you handle what you have now reveals how you will handle more later. The test also comes through giving. God will ask you to give something precious, not because He wants to take it, but because He wants to free you from it. What you are unwilling to release owns you. Every act of giving breaks the chain of attachment and teaches your spirit that nothing you possess is greater than the one who gave it. When God tests you through giving, He is measuring your trust. Can you trust that what you release will return multiplied? Can you believe that you will never lack when your heart remains generous? The truth is simple. God cannot pour into a closed hand. Sometimes God will even test your emotions. He will allow disappointment, delay, or misunderstanding to test your self-control. Wealth requires emotional maturity. If you are easily shaken by offense, easily discouraged by setbacks, or easily influenced by praise, you are not yet ready for the next level. God refines your emotions to make you steady. He teaches you to respond with wisdom instead of reaction, with peace instead of panic. True wealth is sustained by inner stability. A calm spirit is stronger than a full bank account because it cannot be stolen or corrupted. There will be moments when God tests your courage. He will ask you to take steps of faith that make no sense to human logic. He may tell you to leave what is familiar, to invest in something uncertain, or to walk away from something comfortable. These are not random challenges, they are divine invitations. God is saying, do you trust me enough to move when you cannot see? The wealth He gives is reserved for those who walk by faith, not fear. If you can step into the unknown with obedience, the unseen doors will open before you. Every test from God carries a hidden message. I am preparing you to be unshakable. Because when divine wealth comes, the world will test you again with flattery, temptation, and pride. Only those who have endured the fire of God's testing can withstand the storms of success. The process may seem long, but remember, gold cannot shine without fire, and faith cannot mature without trials. God refines you because He intends to display you. He perfects you in silence so that when the time comes, your light cannot be dimmed by circumstance. Some of the most painful tests are those that challenge your vision. God will show you glimpses of the future, but not the full picture. He gives you dreams that seem too large for your current resources. That is deliberate. He does not give you all the pieces because He He wants you to trust Him for the missing parts. The distance between the vision and the fulfillment is the distance that builds a faith. The longer the wait, the deeper the roots of your trust. When you finally arrive, you will realize that the process gave you something more valuable than the promise. It gave you divine strength. When God tests you, He is writing your story of resilience. Each trial becomes a testimony. Each loss becomes a lesson. And each delay becomes a declaration of His faithfulness. You will not only receive wealth, you will carry wisdom. You will not only gain influence, you will embody integrity. Wealth without wisdom is wasted, but wealth that has been tested through fire becomes an instrument of impact. God is raising a generation of people who will use wealth as a weapon for good, as a tool for healing, and as a channel of purpose. Do not fear the tests that stretch you. They are signs that God is near. Every time you feel pressure, it means heaven is investing in your growth. Every test you pass expands your capacity for blessing. The road may be narrow, but it leads to expansion. The burden may feel heavy, but it births strength. You may feel hidden, but hidden seasons are holy seasons where God plants the seeds of greatness that will one day shake nations. The moment you stop seeing tests as punishment and start seeing them as preparation, your entire life shifts. You no longer run from difficulty, you embrace it with faith. You no longer question the waiting, you grow in it. You no longer chase wealth, you attract it by alignment. Because wealth in God's hands is not about luxury, it is about legacy. It is not about material gain, it is about spiritual authority. God tests you to ensure that when the blessing comes, it will not control you, you will control it. So, if you are being tested right now, rejoice quietly. You are not forgotten, you are chosen. You are not being delayed, you are being developed. Every hidden sacrifice, every private prayer, every act of obedience is being recorded in the invisible realm. The day will come when what was done in silence will be rewarded in sight. God's reward may not come when you expect it, but it always comes when you are ready for it. And when it comes, you will understand why He tested you so deeply, because He intended to bless you beyond measure. And so, endure with faith. Walk through the testing with your head held high. Refuse to give up. Refuse to compromise. Refuse to doubt. For the same God who tested you in the wilderness will exalt you in the harvest. The same God who took you through lack will trust you with the abundance. The same God who hid you in silence will reveal you in light. Your testing is the bridge to your blessing. Stay steadfast. And when the day comes, you will hold in your hands the fruit of your faith, a wealth that serves God's purpose, a wealth that cannot be corrupted, and a wealth that was born through the fire of divine testing. There comes a moment in every believer's life when heaven begins to move in silence, when God begins to rearrange the unseen so that the visible world cannot help but respond. You may not see it, you may not feel it, but I tell you, with the fire of conviction in my spirit, God is about to flood your bank with favor, not trickle, not sprinkle, but flood. When God moves, He does not move with limitation. When His hand releases abundance, it is not with hesitation, it is with power, with purpose, and with unstoppable overflow. You have been walking through seasons of delay, wondering when things will shift. You have looked at your account and whispered, when will the drought end? But the drought is not a sign of your defeat. It was the preparation for divine release. When the land is dry, the rain becomes more valuable. When your resources have been stretched, your faith has been strengthened. And when your faith is strengthened, you become ready for what God is about to pour. God does not bless a soul unprepared. He allows emptiness so that when He fills, it will be recognized as His glory and not your own doing. I want you to understand this truth. Favor is not random. Favor is strategic. God's favor is the language of destiny. It comes when you have been tested, when your motives have been purified, when your hands are clean, and when your heart is aligned with obedience. The world may think favor is luck, but those who walk with God know favor is a covenant between your faith and His promise. You have prayed, you have waited, you have endured, and now the spiritual climate is shifting. God has seen your faithfulness in the valley, and He is preparing to reward you in the sight of your enemies. Do not mistake delay for denial. Every delay has been a design. God was not ignoring you. He was enlarging your capacity. He was stretching your faith to hold greater blessing. Some of you have been living on just enough, but God is about to move you into more than enough. You are about to walk into rooms you didn't even know existed. You are about to receive calls you didn't make. You are about to see opportunities you didn't chase. Because when favor floods your life, effort becomes ease and scarcity bows before abundance. You see, God has a divine pattern. Before every flood of blessing, there is a flood of faith. God always prepares your spirit before He fills your account. Because if your heart is not ready, the blessing will crush you instead of lift you. That is why God had to let you experience lack. That is why you had to be rejected, misunderstood, and overlooked. Because favor must find a humble heart. And now your humility has qualified you. Your tears have spoken louder than your words. Your faith has built a case before the throne of God, and the verdict is abundance. When God decides to flood your bank with favor, it will not be because of human systems. It will not be because of economic trends or government structures. God does not need permission to bless you. His favor bypasses logic and defies limitation. He can make one connection, open 1,000 doors. He can take one idea and multiply it into generational wealth. He can turn one seed into a forest of provision. God is about to demonstrate that when He blesses, no man can divorce it. There are moments when God tests your generosity to measure your readiness for favor. You cannot expect a flood when your hands are closed. God fills what is open. He blesses what is released. Some of you have given in faith when it didn't make sense. You sowed when the ground looked barren. You believed when there was no evidence. God saw every sacrifice, every offering, every moment you chose trust over fear. Now the heavens are responding. The rain of favor is gathering over your name. The clouds are heavy with blessing, and soon the downpour will begin. Do not let your eyes deceive you, even if your situation still looks dry. No, this God often works underground before He moves above ground. The roots of your harvest are already spreading. The foundation of your wealth is already forming. The people who once doubted you will soon witness the hand of God rewriting your financial destiny. This is not about greed, it's about glory. God wants to prove through you that His favor has no limit. He wants to use your story as evidence that faith attracts divine provision. But understand this, favor flows to the faithful, not the fearful. If you allow fear to dominate your thoughts, you block the current of abundance. God does not pour into doubt. He pours into trust. When you speak words of worry, you repel the flood. When you speak words of faith, you attract it. Declare today, even before it happened, God is flooding my bank with favor. Say it until your spirit believes it. Speak it until your atmosphere shifts. Because words create access. When your declaration aligns with God's intention, the floodgates open. There is a sacred principle. God cannot bless what you curse. If you keep saying, I am broke, you are sealing your own drought. If you keep saying, I can't afford it, you are building a wall against your own favor. But if you say, God is my source, you open a river of provision. Wealth is not just money. It is a manifestation of divine trust. When God sees you as a faithful steward, He releases more. He blesses you not only to fill your life, but to overflow into others. You become a channel of generosity, not a reservoir of fear. When God floods your bank with favor, do not be surprised when people who ignored you suddenly notice you. They will wonder how it happened. They will try to explain it through logic, but they will fail to understand that what is divine cannot be explained through the natural. You will move from overlooked to overbooked, from forgotten to favored. Because when God decided it is your time, no power can hold you back. Your time has come. The spiritual clock has struck. Heaven is opening its treasury over your name. You may say, but I don't see any sign yet. That's because the greatest flood begins in silence. Before the rain falls, the clouds gather quietly. Before breakthrough comes, stillness reigns. God often moves in ways that the human eye cannot see. Do not interpret silence as absence. God is working behind the curtain, preparing resources, aligning connections, and orchestrating timing. And when it happens, it will be sudden. The same way the flood in ancient times came suddenly, so will your favor arrive unexpected, undeniable, unstoppable. You have been faithful in what is small. You have not complained when others prosper. You have blessed others even when you lacked. That spirit has moved God's heart. Now, He will reward you openly. There will be a divine reversal. The same hands that once reached out for help will soon become the hands that give help. The same voice that once prayed for provision will soon testify of abundance. You will become a living proof that when God says it's time to prosper, nothing can stand in the way. Do not allow the opinions of others to limit what God wants to do. People may tell you that favor is unrealistic, that abundance is prideful. But remember, it is not pride to receive what God provides. Poverty does not glorify God. Obedience does. Faith does. Integrity does. God delights in your prosperity when it reflects His goodness. When your wealth becomes a testimony, it draws others toward faith. You were never meant to struggle forever. You were meant to rise, to expand, to reign in wisdom and abundance. The secret is surrender. When you surrender your plans to God, He multiplies them beyond measure. Many try to force wealth by striving, but divine favor is not earned through stress. It is received through surrender. When you stop chasing money and start pursuing purpose, money begins to chase you. When your motive shifts from accumulation to assignment, heaven takes notice. God floods Those who understand that favor is not for self-exaltation, but for service, for impact, for transformation. There are three dimensions of favor: divine, relational, and material. Divine favor opens heaven's approval over your life. Relational favor places you before people who carry answers to your prayers. Material favor releases the tangible manifestation of God's provision. When all three align, wealth flows effortlessly. That is the alignment God is bringing you into now. People will start showing up with solutions. Opportunities will knock without notice. Doors you never knew existed will swing open. The flood is forming. You must prepare. Preparation is proof of faith. If you truly believe the flood is coming, start building your ark. Organize your finances. Clean your environment. Detach from negative people. Position your mind to receive. When you prepare, you send a signal to heaven that you are ready for overflow. God cannot release favor into chaos. Order attracts abundance. Structure sustains blessing. Begin to act like someone who expects the increase, because expectation is the birthplace of manifestation. There is power in prophetic gratitude. Thank God in advance for what has not yet appeared. Gratitude draws favor faster than prayer alone. When you thank God before the blessing arrives, you declare your faith louder than your need. Gratitude says, I already know it's done. It tells heaven that you are ready. Begin to thank God for your coming overflow. Thank Him for the increase you cannot yet see. Every thank you is a seed that multiplies into more. Some of you have been facing unusual attacks lately, not because you are cursed, but because you are close. When the enemy senses that favor is near, he fights harder. He tries to distract you, discourage you, and make you doubt. Do not give in. Your warfare is a sign of your wealth. Your battle is evidence of your breakthrough. The darker the night, the nearer the dawn. Hold your peace, keep your faith, and watch how quickly God turned the pressure into promotion. You are not waiting for favor. Favor is waiting for you to believe. The moment your faith matches God's promise, the release happens. Stop saying, someday. Say, now. Because God responds to now faith, not someday faith. Speak life into your finances. Walk as if the flood has already begun. Speak to your bank account, your business, your career. Command them to align with divine increase. Words are spiritual currency. Use them wisely. Do not envy others who seem ahead of you. Their season is theirs. Your flood has its own timing. God's calendar is not bound to man's clock. When it is your appointed time, everything will happen fast, too fast for explanation. The same people who pitied you will stand in awe of your elevation. God is setting the stage for a display of His favor so great that even your critics will have to say, surely this is the hand of God. Guard your atmosphere. Do not speak unbelief. Do not entertain conversations that drain your faith. Surround yourself with the people who expect miracles. Align your energy with those who speak increase, not decrease. Because your environment either waters your faith or dries it up. Protect the seed of expectation that God has planted in your heart. The flood is too close to be wasted on doubt. There is no shortage in heaven. God owns the supply chain of the universe. When He decides to favor you, resources rearrange themselves. Currency will find you. Opportunities will recognize you. Investors, helpers, and destiny connectors will locate you without your struggle. You will become magnetic to blessings because favor makes you visible in the invisible realm. Everything you lost will be compensated with increase. Every closed door will be replaced by double. Every delay will turn into acceleration. You will recover more than you ever imagined. God never restores to the same level. He multiplies. When He floods, He doesn't measure drop. He releases rivers. And those rivers will carry your name, your business, your dreams into territories you never reached before. Keep walking by faith, not by sight. Because sight sees limitation, but faith sees overflow. You are on the edge of a divine release that will redefine your life. God is not just blessing you financially. He is rewriting your legacy. He is making you an example of what happens when faith refuses to quit. Your testimony will not be whispered, it will be declared. And through your abundance, others will learn that trusting God never fails. Listen to me carefully. When God sets His eyes on a person to favor them, no force on earth can stop that wave from coming. There is a divine acceleration that begins to move in the Spirit. And everything you lost, everything that was delayed, begins to rush toward you. It is as if heaven suddenly remembers your name. And every prayer you whispered in secret begins to echo in the courts of eternity. You are entering a time where God will make your obedience expensive, where your faith will yield interest, where your waiting will produce weight in glory. You are not forgotten. You are being remembered in the very economy of heaven. There are moments when you think your giving, your faithfulness, your trust have gone unnoticed. But God keeps perfect records. Every seed you sowed in faith was registered. Every act of obedience was documented. Every tear that fell while you held on to hope was collected. God does not forget. God is meticulous with those who trust Him. And when the time of remembrance comes, favor does not come like a stream. It comes like a river that bursts its bank. You are standing at the brink of that river now. When God floods your bank with the favor, it will be to demonstrate His sovereignty. He wants you to know that it is not your job, not your degree, not your network, not your strategies. It is His doing. He will make the increase so unusual that you will have no one to credit but Him. The contracts will come from directions you never pursued. The opportunities will emerge from conversations you never had. You will wake up one day and things will have shifted so suddenly that you will say, only God could have done this. That is the nature of divine favor. It astonishes even those who receive it. But hear me, God's favor is not just about accumulation. It is about assignment. He blesses you to become a blessing. He increases you so that you can reflect His generosity on earth. When you understand that money is not the goal but the instrument, you qualify for abundance. That has no limit. God gives wealth to those who know how to manage it without worshiping it. The moment your wealth becomes a testimony instead of a trophy, heaven keeps pouring. The flood never ends for those who remain humble. Many people pray for favor, yet their hearts are not ready to handle it. They want the flood, but they are not willing to build a foundation. God will not pour abundance into an unprepared vessel. He will first mold your mindset, test your integrity, refine your patience, and stretch your faith. He will place you in seasons of lack, not to punish you, but to train you to handle plenty, because favor without wisdom becomes a burden. God's preparation is a proof of His intention to promote you. Do not despise the process. It is the prelude to overflow. Sometimes God delays your financial breakthrough to protect your destiny. You may think you are ready, but God sees further than you. He knows that premature promotion can destroy character. He knows that sudden wealth can corrupt unguarded hearts. So He waits until your priorities are purified. He waits until you no longer need a favor to prove your worth. And when He sees that your heart can handle the harvest, He releases it without restriction. God never withholds to harm. He withholds to heal, to teach, to strengthen. Favor begins in the mind before it appears in the bank. You cannot receive on the outside what you do not believe on the inside. The limitation is not with God, it is with your belief. If you see yourself as small, life will treat you small. If you keep thinking scarcity, you attract scarcity. God wants to expand your mentality before He expands your resources. Begin to think like a steward of abundance. See yourself as someone trusted by God to distribute wealth for divine purpose. That mindset attracts divine supply. The wealth that is coming is not just the currency, it is influence, access, and authority. God is not just giving you money, He's giving you a voice that cannot be ignored. He is positioning you in places where decisions are made. He is placing your name in conversations that open nations. This is not just financial favor, it is kingdom favor. God is raising you as a vessel through whom His provision will flow to many. That is why the flood will be vast, because it is not for you alone. It is for the lives that will be touched through you. Do not fear the magnitude of what God is about to release. Some of you have been trained in smallness for so long that you hesitate when greatness calls. But God does not consult your past to decide your future. He will place you in positions your resume cannot justify. And that is exactly how He displays His power. The flood of favor is not logical, it is supernatural. It does not follow earthly rules. It obeys divine law. And the divine law says, what God opens, no man can shut. You must also learn to discern when favor is approaching. Often, God gives you signs before the flood. He increases your sensitivity to opportunity. He stirs your spirit with bold ideas. He brings people into your life who challenge your comfort. These are not coincidences, they are signals of movement. When these things start happening, respond with faith, not fear. Step out. Take the inspired action. Speak the word, sow the seed. Because obedience activates the flood. And remember, God's favor flows where peace resides. If your heart is anxious, it blocks the current. Worry is the enemy of wealth. When you trust God completely, you create an atmosphere where blessings flow without resistance. Let go of anxiety about bills, debts, and shortages. You are not your bank balance, you are God's vessel. Your provision is not limited to a paycheck, it is tied to His promise. Peace is the pipeline through which prosperity travels. Keep your heart still, and the flow will find you. There is also divine law of association. Favor flows through connection. When God wants to bless you, He sends people. When the enemy wants to hinder you, He also sends people. Be wise about who walks beside you in this season. Not everyone can handle your overflow. Some will envy your increase. Others will drain your energy. Stay surrounded by those who celebrate your growth and point you back to God. The wrong company can block favor. The right company multiplies it. You must also remember that the flood of favor is not a one-time event. It is a continuous system for those who remain aligned. God does not bless you once and then forget you. He sustains the flow for as long as you remain faithful. The moment you start to take credit or lose gratitude, the flow begins to slow. But when you remain humble and generous, heaven keeps sending more. God loves to trust those who treat wealth as worship. Every act of generosity keeps the river alive. If you want to see the full flood, you must be willing to step beyond the comfort. Favor is not found in familiarity. It requires courage to leave the old and embrace the new. God may ask you to walk away from certain habits, circles, or patterns that no longer serve your future. He may close one door so that the flood can enter through another. Do not resist divine redirection. What looks like loss is often God clearing the path for a larger inflow. When the favor of God overtakes you, it will crack everything that once limited you. Debts will dissolve, delays will vanish, doors that were sealed for years will swing open as if they were never shut. That is how powerful divine favor is. It rewrites your reality. You will look back and realize that all the struggle, all the confusion, all the waiting were part of a divine equation leading to overflow. God wastes nothing. Every hardship becomes the soil from which your harvest grows. God's flood of favor will not only fill your bank, it will fill your life with freedom. Financial favor is only one expression of divine abundance. There is also favor in relationship, in health, in peace of mind, in purpose. When God favors you, He touches every area of your existence. You will wake up feeling lighter, think clearer, love deeper, and give more freely. Because favor restores what lack once took from you. It heals the invisible wounds of struggle. Understand that favor is not fragile, it is fierce. It fights for you, it defends you, it makes your name echo in rooms you have never entered. When God's favor marks you, no slander can undo it, no jealousy can cancel it, and no system can suppress it. The same way a flood cannot be contained by human hand, divine favor cannot be contained by opposition. It breaks through barriers. It overflows boundaries. It rises higher than resistance. That is what God is about to release in your life. There will come a time when you will not need to explain how things change. The transformation will speak for itself. People will notice the peace on your face, the strength in your step, the confidence in your words. They will sense that something divine surrounds you. That is a favor, quiet but powerful, invisible but undeniable. God will cloak you in a presence that magnetizes opportunities. You will attract solutions simply because you carry His grace. Now hear me. As favor increases, so must the discipline. Blessing without the structure becomes chaos. God does not flood to destroy, He floods to expand. You must learn to manage the overflow wisely. Budget, plan, invest, and give strategically. Treat every resource as sacred, because it is when you respect what God releases, He releases more. Discipline is the gatekeeper of destiny. The more you honor His blessing, the more He trusts you with abundance. There is also the principle of secrecy. Some blessings are not to be broadcasted. When the flood begins, move in silence. Do not announce what God is doing before it is established. Not everyone who smiles with you celebrates you. Guard your dreams until they manifest. Speak less, pray more, act quietly, and let results make the noise. God blesses the humble, not the boastful. Protect your favor through discretion. And do not forget, favor requires movement. You cannot stand still and expect a flood to find you. Take steps in faith. Apply for that opportunity. Launch that idea. Write that plan. God blesses motion. When He sees you moving, He multiplies your momentum. Even if the path is uncertain, walk by faith. God cannot steer a parked vessel. He moves with those who move. The flood will meet you in the flow of obedience. When God decides to favor you, He does not ask for permission. He simply acts. He breaks through barriers and moves through systems as though they never existed. What seemed impossible yesterday will bow before you tomorrow because the hand of God has shifted in your direction. There are times when God hides His favor in what looks like failure. You may have thought certain losses were setbacks, but in truth, they were sacred alignments. He had to close those doors to free your path. You could not carry the wrong people or the wrong mindset into the season of overflow that is now approaching. God will never release the flood of His favor into a heart still chained to the past. That is why some doors stayed shut. Why some people walked away. Why some opportunities fell apart. It was not rejection. It was redirection. Every time you thought you were being delayed, you are actually being refined. God was removing every weakness that could not survive the weight of abundance. The flood of favor that is coming is not for those who cling to fear. It is for those who have learned to trust even when nothing makes sense. God has been building your resilience in secret, stretching your faith to the point where you no longer need to understand. You simply believe you have prayed long enough. Now you are about to live what you prayed for. God is moving resources from unexpected direction toward you. And when they arrive, you will realize that not a single season of pain was wasted. There is a divine order in how God releases favor. First, He tests your heart. Then, He observes your stewardship. And finally, He measures your gratitude. If you can remain grateful in lack, you are qualified for overflow. Gratitude in scarcity proves trust. It is easy to thank God when the account is full, but the real test is whether you can still lift your hands when the balance is low. Those who can thank God in the drought will surely dance in the flood. Favor does not follow complaints. It follows praise. Every time you choose gratitude over grumbling, you open another channel of blessing. Gratitude is a key that unlocks divine doors. You must also understand that divine favor is strategic. God never floods you randomly. He floods you with a purpose. The wealth He releases is always tied to destiny. He gives to those who will use His blessing to serve His will on earth. That is why He chooses givers, not hoarders, visionaries, not victims. The moment your ambition becomes a channel for divine intention, the resources start flowing. The flood is not simply money, it is divine empowerment to accomplish what God planned for you before you were born. That is why the blessing will not break you. It will build you. It will not corrupt you. It will complete you. Do not let anyone convince you that you are not worthy of wealth. God delights in seeing His people rise, shine, and multiply goodness. Poverty was never holy. It was never His design. What honors God is not your suffering, but your faithfulness, not your emptiness, but your ability to use abundance for purpose. When you prosper in truth, you demonstrate that trust in God produces fruit. You become living evidence that divine favor can turn an ordinary person into a symbol of extraordinary possibility. The world is not moved by words. It is moved by results. God will give you results so undeniable that people will see His power reflected through you. When favor floods, do not fight it with fear. Some people are afraid to receive because they have been conditioned to think small. But God is too vast to fit into your comfort zone. His favor is designed to stretch you, to push you beyond what you thought possible. When the opportunities come, say yes. When the doors open, step through them. When the idea arrives, act on it. Do not shrink back in doubt. If God sent it, He has already equipped you to handle it. The flood is not meant to drown you, it is meant to lift you. In this season, God will also teach you to discern the rhythm of favor. Sometimes the flood begins as a whisper, a quiet impression, a small shift in the atmosphere. Pay attention to the subtle signs. God rarely shouts, He nudges. The unexpected call, the divine meeting, the sudden clarity, all of these are signals that the tide is turning. When you sense that movement, cooperate with it. Do not delay. Move when He moves. Speak when He instructs. Give when He prompts. Those who flow with God's timing never miss His blessing. The wealth that is coming is not just financial, it is emotional, relational, and spiritual. God will enrich every area of your life because true prosperity is wholeness. You will no longer wake up with the heaviness of yesterday. Peace will become your companion. Joy will become your natural state. Your relationships will shift to reflect your new season. The people connected to you will rise because of your overflow. God never blesses one to oppress many. He blesses one to elevate many. Your favor is designed to lift families, heal communities, and transform generations. That is why the flood must come. And know this God's favor has no competition. You do not need to fight others for it. What is yours cannot be taken. And what is taken was never truly yours. In the realm of divine favor, there is no shortage. You can celebrate others without losing your portion. God's supply is infinite. His rivers never run dry. When you stop competing and start cooperating with the flow, you accelerate your manifestation. Envy delays, gratitude multiplies. Keep your focus on your own divine timeline, and the flood will find you right where you are. There will come a moment when what you carry internally will attract everything externally. The favor you feel in your spirit will begin to materialize around you. Contracts will appear. Opportunities will locate you. People will begin to say your name in rooms you have never entered. That is not coincidence, it is divine orchestration. God is amplifying your influence so that His purpose can be revealed through your success. Do not be surprised when sudden recognition appears. It is simply the outward reflection of inward alignment. The flood of favor will bring speed. What once moved slowly will suddenly move swiftly. Delayed payments will be released. Long-awaited approvals will come through. Hidden opportunities will surface. People who once ignored you will now seek your counsel. This acceleration will not be natural. It will be supernatural. God is compressing time on your behalf. Years of effort will yield in months what you once thought impossible. The same ground that refused to produce will now overflow with the fruit. This is what happens when the heavens open. As you rise, keep your heart soaked. Never allow wealth to harden your spirit. Remember, favor flows best through humility. The more you give credit to God, the more He enlarges your capacity. Pride stops what humility multiplies. Stay teachable, stay prayerful, stay grounded. Every time you think you've arrived, remind yourself that the journey with God never ends. He's not done with you. He's expanding you. The flood is only the beginning of a much greater story. And finally, realize this. You are not chasing favor. Favor is chasing you. You are not pleading for blessing. Blessing has been assigned to you. God has already scheduled moments of provision and expansion in your timeline. All you need to do is stay aligned, stay grateful, stay obedient. The season of struggle was never meant to define you. It was meant to prepare you for this divine flood. You are stepping into a future drenched in favor, a life overflowing with a divine abundance, a destiny that will make others know when God decides to bless a person, no power can resist the flood.